So sadly, I have no coffee left. Let's get both of these screens on one screen. So I'm looking at the right place. That's what I look like. We are live right now on Google. Let's go live on Instagram as well. We'll go live on Instagram here as well. And then last but not least, I'm going to go live on Facebook. Welcome, Instagram. We are live on Google on Kaz Effect YouTube channel. And I'm about to go live here on Facebook. I'm just going to drop some the title for you here because I don't think you have it on Kaz Effect. And I said I have it on Google, but I'm going to jump into it a little bit more as soon as I get on Facebook too. So it's kind of like dress rehearsal for all these people I'm about to tag and just drop some insight on, some power into, I'm about to drop some power into them. So like something drops, we say drop some knowledge on, but really like we can drop power into. So I'm going to get all into that too. Let me take some notes here for myself. So that's a good way to do it. Taking some notes. Okay. Drop knowledge on versus drop power into. Drop knowledge on versus drop power for. Not power. Drop power into. Okay. I don't like that pen though. Let me just switch out my pen here. So again, you guys are kind of like with me. This is you're getting the behind the scenes right now. I need a different color. All right, 1 second. You got a pen right here. That's good enough. All right, we're just gonna go from there. So again, thank you Google. Thank you YouTube. What's up, Click It Social? I see. So if I see you on YouTube or I see you on Facebook, I'm going to give you a shout out. So feel free to comment questions. So today's topics, I'm going to be going over my top five tools, my top 5 pieces of workout equipment to keep at your desk. Right. So I'm like the fitrepreneur. Right. I'm the guy who works in fitness, on fitness, with fitness. In fitness. That's good. In fitness. On fitness, with fitness. All right, so look, like that's what I just notes today. Notes. 11/23. Is that correct? Today's the 23rd, right? Yep, it is. All right, so let me get Facebook on. Now we're gonna blast off, guys. I got some good stuff coming for you today. So my top 5 pieces of gym equipment to keep at your desk, training equipment at your desk, and then my approach. This idea that I have right now of exceeding our own expectations, my own for me, your own for you. Exceed our own expectations, and why I came up with that, what I've been thinking about, and how I'm developing that in my own life. So let's bring Facebook online. Dismiss. And then go live. Let's see what we got. Okay. Oh, let's get this. Okay. Gotta make sure here. Let me see. Here, make sure the mic is set up. I think we're going to be good here with the mic, but edit. Let me just make sure that the mic. I check. Well, I think YouTube, if you're watching me on YouTube, let me know if this is the volume's good, because I just figured out I needed to switch it on Facebook, but I don't see that option here on YouTube. It shows me I've got enough audio at the bottom. So yeah, just okay, I got to talk a little bit closer to the mic, it looks like, so I will figure out how to do that. Let me slide this thing maybe a little more. It's super close to what it looks like, but that's all right. All right, there we go. Cool. Let's do it. Let's raise this camera up a little bit. There we go. Much better. I like that. See? And blam. All right, let's do this, baby. 3, 2, 1. Going live on Facebook. Oh, shoot. Let's go. Let's try that again. Aye. So Facebook now does not want to. Facebook doesn't want to cooperate. Bear with me 1 second. Aye. Facebook trying to take away all my tags. We're going to go live either way. If that's something I need to work on for next time, then that's okay. We can tag people as we go. We're already live on here. I'm ready to rock. You know, that's part of what this is all about. That's part of what this is all about. So, you know, but first I got to get this screenshot. Thanks for bearing with me, Instagram and YouTube here. Technical difficulties because that's the learning process. That's a good one. That's a good one. Let me just make sure this photo is saved. Technical difficulties. That's the learning process. That's good. Technical. Now my pen doesn't work. Goes to show, right? Technical difficulties. Because that's the learning process. That's good. All right. Let me grab a different pen. Rock and roll. All right. Cool. Let's do this. Again, I'm learning here myself, you know. I'll be the first to say it. I'll be the first to admit it. I'll be the first to recognize it, you know. So, you know, when you're at the stage that you're at, just be at that stage and embrace it. All right. So let's get into it. Okay, cool. So let's hit this 1. Let's hit that 2. Now we'll get into 3. Gym desk. Gym at your desk. And 4. Exceed expectation mentality. Cool. Blam. Well, let's try Facebook one more time, then we'll reload it. Okay, let's just reload it. That's annoying, but whatever. No big deal. No big deal. Okay. Okay. As figured. I probably tagged too many people. I was trying to tell a lot of people about this video. I'm going to see if, yeah, okay, there we go. That's why, shit, I probably could change that. Okay, so, let me see, yes, all right. We are in business, people, or in business, my friends. So, shout out my friend Justin, Just Reach. So he coaches me sometimes, hey, make sure your language is inclusive. So and I said, people, friends, that's inclusive language. Thanks for watching. You're jumping on here. We are already live on YouTube and Instagram. This is the Kaz Effect. Mind sharing time. Stuff that's on my mind. And I had some technical difficulties jumping on here. I was trying to tag some people. I'm still going to tag some people. So I hope you go back and watch this from the beginning. But, you know, it's in the technical difficulties really that we learn. right? It's in the mess ups that we learn. It's in the being imperfect that we learn, have things not go right. That's when we learn, right? Let's be honest about that. Let's be real about that. And sometimes in that moment when, we have the mess up or, whatever, it doesn't feel particularly good. But, you just have to work through it, to the extent that it affects you at that moment. And then, work through it and then learn from it. Learn from it. That's essential. That is absolutely essential. So I'm going to get more into the mindset, right? Kaz Effect talks. We talk nutrition. We talk fitness. We talk mind. I'm going to get a little bit more into the fitness right off the bat. Tell you my top five pieces of gym equipment. I got some fun ones to keep at your desk. Okay, keep at your desk. This is actually number 3/4. There's a tie between 3 and 4. So if you can't see that, there you go. All right. So my top 5 pieces of gym equipment to keep at your desk, and then talking about this idea of exceeding your expectations for yourself. Exceed your own expectations, and I'm going to talk about why I'm focused on that right now. Why I think that's really important. And then just kind of give you guys my thoughts. Just to start off, if you haven't watched this before, this is my Kaz Effect podcast, Braincast platform. My time of sharing my ideas in front of a camera that I share with people on the internet. Like, that's what it is, right? We call it podcast, but it's sharing yourself. It's sharing the way you think. It's sharing your knowledge. The value that you can potentially give. Sometimes the value can be as a storyteller, right? Just telling a story. But sometimes the value can be insight, can be knowledge. And, it got me thinking, because a lot of times, we'll hear people say, they're going to drop some knowledge on you, or I'm going to drop some knowledge on them, And I was thinking about that, and it's like, okay, but the thing is, if you drop knowledge, sometimes the knowledge isn't received, right? So there's a 2-part to the dynamic. The first is the person broadcasting, and the second is the person receiving. And if the person receiving can't receive that message for whatever reason, then there's almost no point to the broadcast. So I wanted to change that. It was very spontaneous, but I just decided I'm going to change that. And I said, I'm going to drop some power into you. Not on you, but into you. I'm going to drop some power into you today on the Kaz Effect Show. That's what we're just going to call it, the Kaz Effect Show. So, look, there's a lot of different things I want to do with this, but the number one, I'll go back to how I was doing this with my daily routine, going to the gym. I was going to the gym, and I was driving over there, and I started broadcasting, this session on Facebook Live. I got this wireless mic here, improved the audio quality that I'm now using with Instagram. I got the desktop set up. I got the mic. Like I said, going to invest in some lighting. So, the point is to build this. The point is I have this vision, and I think sometimes we see podcasters or YouTubers or whatever, and we can critique them because we're like, oh, they're not this or they're not that. So what we say a lot of times is they're not the old version of what we knew that person. So for example, like if you were like, that person is not a cooking expert, he's not doing this or he's not doing that. It's like, well, you can actually watch what I know. I'm not going to, like for me, for example, as a chef, I'm not going to tell you I know all these different things that I don't know. But I'm going to tell you for sure, like in culinary nutrition, like preparing, plant-based, nutrition-driven, performance-driven, but really tasty food. I know that, like that. I'm pretty good at that, right? So, but there's other things I'll be happy to say what I'm not good at. And honestly, most of the time I won't talk about those things. I won't focus on those things. So, some bigger picture context for where I'm going with this platform, even like fixing up my studio, so to speak. That's going to be another step, is building out my studio. Building out the studio. I'm really, really excited for that. That's going to be happening next year. So we're really fired up about kind of like the vision. So you kind of see I have a certain landscape for my studio. Like, you see Joe Rogan podcast. It's interesting, right? So Joe Rogan podcast studio, like when it was in LA, like looked very one way, and now it's in Texas and it's totally different. And so it's interesting kind of how that's playing out for him. So, I just want to keep that authentic feel, but give a little bit more space dedicated for doing this now, because this is becoming more of a regular thing. So that's kind of the second thing I want to talk about, was just where I'm going with this, that you're going to see this more, this studio, these topics, and it's going to be about a half hour to 40 minutes, sometimes maybe longer. Like I've already got 16 minutes today on YouTube at least, and that was just the intro. So let's jump into the fun part, what I know a lot of people are excited for. So the reason I wanted to share this was I thought it would be a fun one for if you love gym toys, gym equipment, or you have somebody who you love who loves that stuff. Going to give you some good ideas for what I think are some great holiday gifts, things to invest in, and products that I personally love. So the first one for the top 5 pieces of fitness equipment to keep at your desk, the first one is going to be some sort of a, people call plyo ball, yoga ball. I'm not sure, what the correct terminology is, but this one's a bigger one. I think this is a 65 or 75 inch. I think this is a 75. It needs a little bit of air. But if you find maybe different sizes, that's a good idea. And then I also have one that's weighted. It's got like sand or something in the bottom of it, so you can use it in different ways. So that's my first piece of equipment, because, look, I'm constantly moving, right? Forces me to work a lot of core. There's a funny bit on The Office, right? If anybody's a fan of The Office. So there's a funny bit when Dwight is bouncing. He's like, it's good for my core. And then Jim comes over, like, how much is that thing? Stabs it with the scissors, right? So if you watch The Office, that scene. But it's true. It's true. Another thing I like is it keeps my hips mobile. Like my hips are constantly shifting instead of sitting in one position. Forcing me to align my posture, stuff like that. So that's my first tool. My number 2 is going to be, this is called the TheraBand, right? So I got 2 different. This is the extra light, the yellow one. This one has a very good grip, like the material on the outside. It grips, your hand grips very well. I have another one that came in a full set of 4. It's a little thicker, which I like, but it doesn't grip as well. So that's why I showed this brand specifically. You can get the other one on Amazon as well. Part of my vision for Kaz Effect is to have a store where I have all this stuff. And it's funny because I've been kind of holding off on doing this because I don't have it on the store yet. But I was watching this other guy, and I'll give him a shout out, More Plates, More Dates on YouTube. I really like his channel, like some of his scientific approach. And I was listening to him, and he's talking about supplements. He's really into supplements. And he was saying how, he has this store and he's going to sell stuff in the store, and he just doesn't have it on there yet. And I was like, man, it's like me, but with some of this equipment. Like, I'm always kind of tinkering and using different equipment. And I'm like, I'm building out my store. Like, that's already in process. But like, because I don't have it up yet, I've been holding off on doing this. Not that this is supposed to be exactly like a product review, to be honest, but it's like again, to be clear, none of these products give me any profit from promoting these or from sharing this with you. I'm doing this because that's what I know is the right approach to building what I'm building, right? To building what I'm building. Like, this is the approach that works. I know that. I've done it with my other business. It's not a question of if, it's a question of time. Right? I know that. That is unquestioned fact. Unquestioned fact. Now, does it mean I know everything that's going to happen in the process? Of course not. Definitely not. Definitely not. There's a lot I have to learn along the way. But I'm doing my best to embrace that. And part of what I'm going to talk about with the exceeding expectations is exceeding your expectations with your time management of yourself. right? It's like if you have a project, a side project, you can't do maybe all your side projects at the same time or in a given time, but like if there's something that's like an important thing, I'm always saying have like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of those going on at the same time. You know, put energy into that thing regularly, even if it's not daily, right? Regular and daily don't have to coincide. So you determine what that needs to be. You know, for me, training, like I took a complete day off yesterday. I needed it. Like I let my body rest. I'm going to go hard today. Like you guys can see, I'm at my desk already fired up, right? So, you know, understand kind of some of what you need, but dedicate yourself to that. And just because something is at a lower point, just because something is like new at a newer stage, like it's at a nascent, just starting off, like don't just be like, oh, I'm not seeing results, so I'm just going to quit on it. Like if you're really passionate about it, if you're really into it, like keep pushing forward. That's it, even if it's super slow. Okay, so TheraBand, this is my number 2, Plyo-Ball number 1. You guys can see I'm like continuing to use this thing. It's a really good tool for me when I'm just doing stuff like this, like on a Zoom or, you know, so these are the things you can keep at your desk, but you can also keep in like the car, good for traveling with. All right, my number 3 and 4 are tied, but I'm going to put them in the order that I do because of their price. So part of how I am giving you these things is their utility, what you can do with them, but also what they cost. Like, you know, the price point matters for a lot of people. You get all this stuff together, you're going to spend about, I don't know, $350 bucks. You could probably get all these 5 things. All right, so next one is going to be egg weights. Now, there's different weights, but these are just the 1 pound egg weights. I'm going to put them on here. You can see there's a little thumb loop, all right? And I put my middle finger actually. I'm going to put them in my hand. And you hear a lot about different fighters use these, but you can use for a lot of different things. It doesn't just have to be for striking. I like for warm up my shoulders. All right, just open up shoulders, different angles. A lot of the extension muscles, right, in the back, getting those active. Just changing angles for my shoulder use. If you do other sorts of, if you do any martial arts, this is going to be very helpful for you. Maybe capoeira, you're doing handstands, jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of, you know, shoulder mobility, shoulder strength, shoulder stability, especially required. Even weight training, you know, you want to build a lot of that shoulder stability, mobility, so that you can last longer in the gym. And then you can go run with them, of course, you can use for your striking, you know. But I like to use a lot for, like I said, more on a lot of the just small mobility stuff, you know, getting that shoulder rotation. That these are only 1 pound. They have a set. I got a set with 1, 1.5, and 2 pounds. I actually have 2 sets of those. So, you know, that's my 3rd thing. And again, you can keep it at the desk, take off, you know, and then go back to work, right? That's my approach. That's my thinking with all this. All right. So number 4 is by WEC Method. There is the same guy who created the Bosu ball, if you're familiar with that. This is the RMT Club. I have to look up what RMT stands for. I'm sure it's something clever. But if you can hear that, there's like some ball bearings or something inside. And so there's a aspect of reaction and sensation that's created. Now this one is only the 2 pound, but this is really good for one hand exercise. This is my my lesser hand. You know, I'm a right dominant, so my right hand I can do some of this stuff with some ease, but still get tired. I can still feel my wrists, especially getting stronger. If I hold further away, a lot more elbows, and then, you know, getting angles. Now start to involve that shoulder mobility, right? But can still, this one maybe I'm not going to build a lot of strength, like huge turning strength. It's only 2 pounds, but a lot of the smaller stabilizing parts, like the joints, the L, those minor joints, especially if you've got like micro tears and small injuries over time. Like you train a lot, you train hard. This is going to be really good for you. Now, some people are like, "Is that like a shake weight?" It's like, look, the shake weight, you can find legitimate uses for it, to be honest with you. So if you're going to knock the shake weight, like knock it. But this is a great tool. You can check out a lot of different stuff that they have on their website. All these products, go to their website, tell them I sent you them, if you don't mind, if they ask. All right. So look, again, just different things you can be doing. I am actually going to be picking up another one of these. This, like I said, is the 2 pound. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the 4 pound. Looking forward to that. And go from there. So again, you can keep it at my desk. Try not to knock anything off the wall. You can keep it at my desk here. As you can see, my armpits. All right. And another nice thing about this one is it's made to take impact. You can strike bags, strike walls. All right. And because it's also not metal, like a lot of the steel maces, you can hit yourself. And it doesn't make too much hurt. Like if you've ever hit yourself with a steel mace, you're like, dang, I got to be freaking careful with this. This thing, I can, let it go a little bit more. And if I hit myself, which I have also, it doesn't hurt too bad. If you hit your knee or your foot sometimes, though, still, it's a lot less bad than the metal one, though, than the steel mace. All right, the 5th tool. So number 5, this is only for the super dedicated, gym desk connoisseur, you could say. This one I got specifically because all these tools, actually a bunch of these tools, egg weights I had before, the ball I had before, but the TheraBand and the RMT club, these things also work very well together. So like, I move around like with that thing, and then this actually helps get blood in, keeps blood in there, keeps some mobility, works some different angles. There's just something different about working with bands than something like that. That's more of on a fulcrum, right? It's like a lever and a fulcrum. Something moving around different ways. So they're both good, right? As is, there's a lot of other things. These are just a few of my picks to keep by your desk, at your desk with you, when you travel, whatever. All right. So like I was starting to say, I did pick up a lot of these when I was dealing with a wrist injury. So a lot of them are forearm and wrist heavy, but there's nothing wrong with that. You work a lot of, like I said, shoulders, chest, traps, forearms, of course, biceps, triceps, back. You're gonna, and even incorporating legs, even just sitting on this ball, of course, and doing some core at the same time. So look, this thing, I think it's called the Bison Deluxe something. You can find it on Amazon. It will be on my store as well at some point. So you can adjust the resistance. Let's put the resistance down. I don't know when I use this last. Put the resistance down, and then it's got ball bearings at different points. So I guess there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different ball bearings, and like I said, you can adjust the resistance, and you keep, very similar. I'm going to put the resistance up a little bit. Very similar in some of the movements, but now working a different way, right? And these are weighted in the middle. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the weight is. So there's also a resistance with that way, right, to keep it up. But like you only need like half a turn, and the resistance goes up quite a bit. And I use this also a lot with my fat grips to make the grip a bit thicker. Should let me grab those. Great. Warm it up there. You can take the scarf off now. So I got a couple different back grips. This is a little thicker one. So we can take this guy, throw it here. And then give it an so much thicker grip, and you can see, and then by itself. And like you could do like more of a flow, but you can also just do reps, you know. I'm gonna put a little bit more here. Forearms and wrists, a lot of weak points, right? Like, so again, I had an injury, but also I like to kind of mentally and physically find those weak points for myself, that if I'm training and I have an injury, it's like, well, that was already a weak point, right? I learned that about my shoulder when I had a AC separation, that the physical therapist was like, this was just, you know, it happened in an instant, but it's a buildup over time of, you know, improper mechanics and the effects that has on the body. So that one impact, one trauma can really have a seriously adverse effect. No matter how, like sometimes you're training a lot and you're creating those things. So you can't like out train that stuff. You've got to improve your training and sometimes even do less, but definitely just change up the approach, you know, just change up the approach so you can keep going. You know, even if you're the fastest, the biggest, the most athletic, like if you get on a sideline, you can't work. Like if your leg doesn't work or something, like, you know, somebody who's far less athletic, somebody who's far less, you know, like naturally gifted, is going to pass you because, you know, you're on the shelf, right? Like you're not training, you're not working, like you're out, right? You're gone. That's just how it is. And then that happens a lot of times with even people who are younger, like they, you know, just people drop off for all reasons. It's not even like a judgment thing. It's like you have to learn from other people's, what sets other people back. And if somebody just is off their course, you know, like this isn't the path for them, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But sometimes, you know, people are like, you know, they just find excuses. Why not? Instead of like figuring it out, right? So that's the difference. This is like for someone who wants to improve and, you know, it isn't where they want to be in whatever regard. So those are my top 5 tools, top 5 pieces of equipment to keep at your desk so that you can be working at any time or just get some blood moving so that you can feel good while, you know, you're working. Because I'm on here, honestly, like even before I was on here with you guys, I was on here making money. And like I said, this, you know, look, I think sometimes we think like, oh, make it, you know, it's not all about money or whatever. It's like, no, it's not all about money. But what if like there's just certain things that inherently I want to do more of? So let me give you guys a funny story. So when I started live streaming in 2010, 2011, we started on a platform called Ustream. And when I say we, it was myself and Dr. Darian Parker. All right. Well, I want to get my heavier ones. One second. So these are the ones. And I got the 1.5. So I'll show you the. You'll see the whole set here of the egg weights that I got. I got the 1.5, and then I got the 2. And then this is just a broken hip circle band that I like to use. This is from Platinum Band, so this is a really good type of band. This material just snap because I use it a lot. I have the full ones as well. They've been great enough to replace it. So this is another kind of like just keeping my body loose, limber, feeling good while I'm sitting at my desk. So, you know, sometimes I'm going to be here, sitting here, talking to you guys. Sometimes going to be on a call. You know, maybe I'm distracting. I turn my video off. But the thing for me is I'm not doing this instead of working or instead of listening. I'm doing this. It's adding to it, right? Sure, there's certain times like I need my hands and I, you know, need to type on the keyboard. But other times, you know, I'm on the phone or I'm on a video. Like this is good ways for me to be keeping my body moving and keep even improving. Not just moving, but improving, right? It's like health versus like thriving. Right? There's a difference between being healthy, which is just, in technical terms, lack of disease, and thriving. So it's just changing the mentality, changing the dialogue regarding these topics. So gave you guys my top 5 pieces of gym equipment. I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm in like motion mode. So can't stop moving sometimes. Like I said, it's there. If you need it, you can put it down. And then, got a few other things. So let me jump into this last topic, though, and then we'll wrap it up. So I was going to talk about the idea of, so that was more of the fitness side, the Kaz Effect fitness side. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more Kaz Effect mind. So this idea I had this week, I called exceeding your own expectations. Exceeding your own expectations. And, the thing I realized was, and I've been putting this in some, descriptions of photos, is just kind of really own what, at any moment, what I am or am not limiting myself to, or creating as a possibility for myself, or, thinking of being realistic. Sometimes it's not about how much time it's going to require. It's just even considering that it could happen, right? It's just that it at all is a realistic, is a possibility. And I don't even say realistic, could be possible, could happen. And sometimes these thoughts, they sit under the surface a little bit. So it's not like somebody's coming up to us and asking us this question, or we're like asking this question to ourselves. It's like at any given moment, we're basically, the way I see it is, we're not acting. I'm not acting in accordance with belief. So, for example, with this podcast, I had this vision for doing this. And week after week, sometimes I'd make progression. Like I said, I was doing the car video. That was really good because it wasn't about exactly what I said, or it wasn't about, this topic or that stuff. It's about the consistency of doing it, the consistency of the habit, right? It was about that I took the time to set up this, Smart Mic Plus, that I invested money in it, that I was unwilling to let it sit on the shelf and be a waste of money. I can't say I have a certain expectation for how much this is going to grow, right? I don't want to say like, okay, my belief, I'm gonna, this for sure is gonna be this super success. Like I said, Joe Rogan. It's not about that though. Sometimes it's just about doing it. I think about my experience as a chef, and what I've done, and the opportunity I have and have had in my career. And it doesn't mean it's perfect. Doesn't mean I always love it. Doesn't mean I always do it as well as I should. Sometimes I don't, I don't perform up to my expectations, and it disappoints me. Like if my clients are disappointed, which I really don't aim to ever have happen, but if it happens, then I like really feel bad about it. I really aim to do a good job. So, and that's bode well for me in my career. Overall in my career, I've done very, very well, and I'm grateful for that. So, it's just a good point to be at. And I really wanted to, my goal in this is to to create the consistency and the habit for myself, to build this vision, to push further ahead with this dream I have, the Kaz Effect. This Chef Kaz, this was a dream at one point solely. These shirts are old, man. I fill out these shirts a lot better than I did when I first had them made. It's funny how I've filled into them, and being grateful for those things, right? Being grateful for all of those steps, along the way, that it's not one always straight, narrow, obvious, clear course. You know, there's a lot of steps along the journey that we could never have anticipated. Never. You know, we seem to think sometimes we're so smart, right? And it's like, think about a lot of things that have happened for you that have been in your favor, but at the time didn't seem like they were. You know, like resisted a lot. So I think we can all admit to that, and that's how life continues to go, I think. So, you know, just kind of like having that mentality of, you know, exceeding your own expectations, meaning, one, don't limit yourself. Two, act in accordance, like as if you're not, you know, you don't have that belief. You might be like, oh, I don't have that belief, and then you don't take action accordingly. Like, or what belief do I hold? Like, okay, I'm going to create this Cause Effect platform. Okay, an action in accordance with that, an action that's in line with that is getting on here, talking to the camera, right? Posting this video, setting up my concurrent streaming setup with my desktop on the YouTube and the Facebook and the Instagram on the camera, on the phone. So, you know, it's just how I think about it, how my energy is, how when you know, just the practice of doing this. You know, I went last night, watched stand-up comedy with a good buddy of mine, and he does stand up, and so I was just like thinking about, oh, you know, what if you know, that'd be like another interesting thing to take on, and you know, but here's the thing, I've already got this, you know, like this is my stand-up, you know, in that regard. Like he does something else. This is that thing I'm creating, you know, where I can talk to you guys about, you know, everything that's on my mind and that I am reflecting on. And as I talked about in the last episode, this is a lot about me as like what I think of as contemporary at this time right now, philosophizing, right? This is what philosophers did. They asked questions without needing to have answers or expecting there to be certain exact answers. They asked the questions not just for the sake of the question. I don't think that would be an accurate way to put it. I think that, yeah, sometimes you could say that, but I think for the most part, it's you ask questions for the journey of the answers, you know, what you learn in the process, I would say. It's a good way to put it. So I think that's a lot of what I'm doing right now. It's like what I'm learning in the process is pretty awesome. And it's just like, I do believe in this as well. I do think this will turn into something. And the reason I gave that example about the Joe Rogan story with Ustream is I started on there and I'm like, what if we had just continued? I mean, Dr. D left town and, you know, a lot has transpired certainly since then. And then again, it's just like other aspects of making the time, you know, instituting a new habit that I also really enjoy this. I think this is fun. Like, and I love when I get feedback and comments from people, you know, telling me what they took away, or some people share this. And, you know, I'm aiming to give a lot of value from this, guys. Like, guys, girls, whatever, whoever you are. You know, I'm aiming to give a lot of value. So for the people who listen, the people who follow this insight, who take this insight and, you know, take this power that I said and run with it, like there's going to be a lot. And some of it's going to be mentality wise, mindset stuff, but a lot of it's also going to be very, very tangible. Like I gave you, you know, some stuff to get today. You know, I said up to 350 if you got all the things, but I think you get like, you know, these sticks and the ball for like 50, you know, less than 50. RMT Club, you know, it's about 85, 95. Egg weights aren't too much. You know, that set was like $100 they had last year for a Christmas special. So, you know, you don't have to invest too much, but again, you have sometimes investing money, you know, it's there's something about that, right? Like, because if you invest into the things that benefit your life, like there's a value, and you use them, of course. You got to pick these things up and use them, right? But if you do that, then there's value. There's a lot of return on your value. I mean, if this thing costs $20, right, and used it every day, and never had wrist problems. You always had healthy wrists, and or you were overcoming a wrist injury and it helped you get strong again. Wouldn't that be worth it? Wouldn't that just be fundamentally worth it to you? So yeah, some things to think about. I'm gonna keep doing this. I will be here tomorrow, doing this again. May or may not be around the same time. I'm trying to figure that part out. Anyone has any thoughts, feedback, requests, questions, anything else? Throw it out there. That's what this is for. I'm working. This is intended also to be, at least in part, dialogue, meaning back and forth. Question, answer, question, extrapolate, investigate, explore. It's not a one-way conversation, but that's okay for right now. That's good for right now. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. Share again, tell some friends, and I'll see you all soon. Blah, blah. I got to close this on 3 platforms, so it's like 3 blah, blams. Blah, blam, right here. End that stream, blam. And